Larry Dixon, and this is a conversation with First Baptist Church. With me today is Deborah Canales.
Hi, Larry. Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. Well, in our videos that we're doing, we want to get to kind of know everyone that's in the congregation and, participates here at First Baptist Church. Mm-hmm. So my first question is, tell me about where you grew up and what those early years were like for you.
That's a really good question. I grew up right here in Moorhead, Kentucky. My parents had gone to college here, and although the early part of their marriage, they were teachers and they moved around a lot, eventually they got the opportunity to move back to Moorhead. And so that's how I ended up here. And I went to Breck, which was a really small school. We were a lab school for MSU, which was a teacher's college at one point. And my class was only 30, there were 34 kids in my class. And we'd all been together since elementary school. And it was back before internet or planned play dates or anything like that. So we were all pretty much free range and bored and had to create our own fun. It was a great place to grow up.
Growing up, what was your dream job?
Oh. This is probably the weirdest answer, but I'm not sure I had one. I was a music major briefly in the early part of my college career, but lacked the discipline to practice enough. But I think for the longest time, it was like, because I grew up on a college campus, going to college was just the next stage, and I failed to ever realize that I'm going to need to graduate and get a job. And so toward the end of my college career, since my uncle and both of my parents and everything were teachers, I thought, I will teach. And so that's what I did. And I guess it kind of became my dream job. It was an outlet for creativity, and it was very rewarding.
My next question for you is, what's on your bucket list? What is there that you want to do? What new adventure?
New adventure. I guess like a lot of people's bucket list, it involves travel. I think after this pandemic, I would like to take a road trip, a huge road trip, like the Great River Road along the Mississippi that goes from Minnesota, passes through like 10 states, and comes out at the Gulf of Mexico. That just seems fun to me.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. And if you have an extra seat, I'll go with you.
All right, but I like to stop at just like podunk towns and look at historical markers and things like that.
Oh, we would get along great. What is your favorite food? Since we're on this road trip together.
Yes. I spent 29 years teaching in Texas, and Houston is a foodie town. I think my favorite food is probably really good tacos, but from authentic taco stands, food trucks, things like that. Not so much Taco Bell, which is different, yeah.
So tell us about your life there in Texas teaching. What was that like?
It was an adventure because, of course, I grew up in Moorhead, and moved to the 4th largest metropolitan area in the United States. I didn't even get on the freeways. I would drive to work on city streets for a long time because I was too afraid. I hadn't been on many freeways. And when I moved down there, Daddy went with me, to help me. And I rented an apartment. I had no furniture, so I rented furniture that wasn't going to show up for a month. So when Daddy left me, he left me with a rocking chair, a TV, and a pistol. That's all I had. And Houston's very multicultural. I taught in a predominantly Hispanic high school, and of course I didn't know Spanish, but I learned pretty quickly. And Texas grows on you. It's an incredible state.
Wow. What did you teach?
For most of my career, I taught social studies, predominantly geography to ninth graders. And then the last 5 years of my career, my principal sort of took pity on me and let me teach senior English, and that was fabulous. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Stories, what's not to like?
Everyone has a hobby. What is yours?
I think gardening. This time of year, I just sort of become obsessed with plants. I belong to the garden club. We've got a garden in the community garden, Jesse and I, and he's an amazing gardener. And the garden club people teach me a lot, and we help maintain Fountain Park. We have a butterfly way station. We've got a flower garden behind the old jail. We maintain a monarch way station at Carter Caves. It's an adventure.
So what brought you to First Baptist Church, and why have you stayed?
I grew up in this church. When my family moved here, I think Reverend Brooks was the pastor, and there were a lot of children at that time. So there were a lot of activities, children's activities, going on in the church. And, you know, small town, you go to church where your parents go. And then when I moved back, it was just, you know, a natural place to go. It's what I was used to. I got married in this church at one point. My brother and father both had funeral services. You know, this is my tribe.
Hey, I'm looking for a church to go to, and I'm not sure what this church is. What would you tell me that would entice me to visit this church?
That it's very welcoming, and if you're open to being part of a community and support and becoming active in the church, this might be the place for you. Come give it a try. I'm not great at recruiting. I just feel funny about it. I don't know what it is. Mrs. Day, who lived in Moorhead, the Days lived in Moorhead when I was growing up, and she went to the Church of Christ. And she once said to me, I don't want to have to tell people I'm a Christian. I want them to see that something special is going on in my life and ask me about it and want that. And I kind of adopt that philosophy too.
Who is your favorite character in the Bible? Who would you spend the day with?
Oh. Well, of course, there's Ruth, who gives that great loyalty speech to her mother-in-law about, your people are my people, I will go where you go. You know, your God is my God. Where you die, I will die. That type of loyalty is very appealing. But I think the person that I really like, and I don't know her name, I think she's in Luke. She's the woman who felt like she'd been wronged. She wanted the judge to help her make it right. And for the longest time, he wouldn't do it. But she did not give up. She prayed to God, and she kept coming back and coming back. And I think that persistence paid off. With humans, most things are negotiable.
In 6 words, can you define your faith?
Wow, 6 words. Evolving. I think I'm still learning. Evolving. Questioning, curiosity, definitely gratitude, service, and faith.
Wow.
6?
That's it.
Yes.
That's 6. That's great. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe with the infinite expanse of the universe, the possibility exists. But if they've made it here, that's a little scary because their technology would be so beyond ours. We'd probably be like ants. It's a thought.
Well, Deborah, thank you for being here with us today. I'm Larry Dixon. This has been a conversation with First Baptist Church, and with us today has been Deborah Canales. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.